Forget about that 4-14 record at home. The Brewers very happy to be back in Milwaukee. A beautiful night for baseball as they start a 6-game homestand here in Milwaukee. The first 3 against the Astros. And one of the top offensive clubs in baseball is back at home, your Milwaukee Brewers. Among the leaders in home runs, RBIs, and runs scored if they can just all put it together. Our news and notes. 5 Brewer pitchers combined to beat the Twins on Sunday. An all-important victory, all hands on deck, and the Brewers come through. The Brewers looking to snap an 8-game home losing streak, nearly unheard of in baseball, and they'll send Randy Wolf out on the hill. The veteran has snapped losing streaks before. He's going to try to do it again here tonight against the Astros. Jerry Augustine, Craig Kasham back on board with you here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. A lot of faces we saw combining for that victory on Sunday at Minnesota, Jerry. An emergency start for Estrada at the top of the list.
Well, he came in and did just what they want him to. Give him go as long as you can, pitch as well as you can, and he did that. He held the Minnesota Twins down, left the game, did a great job for him. Manny Pardo comes in after that, gives him 2 quality innings. In part of the game where they really needed somebody, he came and did that job. Bradford came in, nerves of steel. What a great first outing for him. And Trevor Hoffman, 8-pitch inning, just what they were looking for. Axford finishes off. Couldn't have had it any better.
So the Brewers go at the unusual route. Tonight they'll send the big bad wolf out on the hill, Randy Wolf. Now, Randy is hoping it won't take 5 pitchers to blow Houston's house down. We'll continue to explore the pitching situation and the Brewers trying to snap an 8-game home losing streak tonight.
Sports Wisconsin is presented by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T Rethink Possible. And by the new Miller Lite Vortex bottle. Taste greatness. Just a beautiful night for baseball here in Milwaukee. We get set for the first of a 3-game series with the Houston Astros. Ryan Braun, he is the top vote getter at the first release of the All-Star voting today. Braun and his teammates getting ready for the Astros and this 6-game homestand. And hi, everybody. Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. Great to have you with us tonight. The Brewers looking forward to this matchup tonight. They're hoping to get things turned around at home rock. And if the Brewers are going to turn this season around, it has to start here at Miller Park.
I just can't figure out why they've had such a tough time here at Miller Park. Only 4 wins. 2 of those wins coming in the first series of the year against the Colorado Rockies, it really hasn't been just one thing. It's been a combination of a lot of different things. There's been days where the offense hasn't been there. There have been days where the pitching hasn't been there. They just haven't been able to do the little things at home like they have been able to do from time to time on the road. It's time to turn that thing around right now.
Well, the Brewers coming off a win in Minneapolis, and tonight, as far as matchups go, if you like to get into the numbers, some good matchups with Felipe Paulino on the mound.
And this guy has good stuff. I mean, he's a guy that throws very hard. He gets the ball up into the mid to upper 90s. He's got a good curveball. He's one of those guys who just has not been able to put much together, but the Brewers historically against this young right-hander have done very well. He throws a lot of fastballs. The Brewers are a very good fastball hitting club.
Paulino is a strikeout pitcher. He does not allow many home runs, but he is 0-6 this year for the Astros. Can the Brewers make home sweet again? Stay with us and find out. It's Game 1 against the Astros, and it's coming up next on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
Had a good win the last day in Minnesota against a good ball club, and hopefully we can come back and get a little bit of that momentum coming back in here and get this thing going the right way and get on a little run here.
Brewers third baseman Casey McGee as he leads the crew on the field here at Miller Park. The National League's RBI leader right there in Casey McGee. Brewers and the Astros tonight, and Houston has really scuffled here lately. Their manager is Brad Mills. He is in the first year of his contract with Houston, replacing Cecil Cooper, who was let go last season. But the Astros have lost 8 out of 10. They are 15-29 for the season and dead last in the Central. And here's the Subway lineup turned in by Brad Mills. It's Michael Bourne, Jeff Keppinger, and Lance Berkman. Berkman with big numbers against Milwaukee in his career. Carlos Lee, Hunter Pence, and Pedro Feliz in the middle of the order. And Brad Mills has Humberto Quintero, Tommy Manzella, and Felipe Paulino, and that lineup will face Randy Wolf.
And Wolfie's had a tough time his last 2 times out against the Phillies and at Pittsburgh. He gave up 12 runs combined in the last 2 starts. It's been a rough month of May for Randy Wolf.
Randy Wolf delivers strike 1, and away we go at Miller Park. Well, starting to feel a lot like summer here. Beautiful day in Milwaukee today. And maybe with the mercury rising, the Brewers will start to get hot as well. They are in desperate need of a winning streak. No better time to start than right here in their home confines. Starts a 6-game series tonight. The Astros for 3, then the New York Mets coming in for the weekend series. Little pop up into left, Ryan Braun. And it's out number 1. Well, you've seen Braun. The rest of the outfield, Gomez and Hart. Infield tonight for Ken Maka is McGee, Escobar, Weeks infielder, and a battery of Jonathan Lucroy. His first career start catching the veteran Randy Wolf in our Blaines Farm and Fleet defense. That's got to be a thrill for Lucroy tonight.
I think showing up to the ballpark today, I think he was a bit surprised. He got a hard-throwing right-hander for the Astros. It was a team day off yesterday, and George Kataris was swinging the bat pretty well, so Lucroy getting an opportunity here tonight.
Kataris moving into that everyday role for the Brewers with Greg Zahn on the disabled list. Zahn had an MRI done over the weekend, and those results are coming shortly on an injured shoulder. But it's going to be at least 2 weeks for Greg Zahn's return. And Ken Maka is saying about Lucroy, he's the young catcher, so you put him in with a veteran pitcher who calls his own game anyway to break him in with his first major league start. Keppinger to right, 2 outs. Now Lucroy caught Randy Wolf all spring, and he gave us this scouting report on his left-hander.
Just go out and keep the ball down, just locate his pitches well. I mean, just pretty much pitch to his strengths and the hitter's weaknesses. So that's what we're going to try to do tonight, and hopefully we get a win out of it.
That's basically saying I'm not sure what he wants to do. He's going to tell me as the game goes on. They've already had one meeting at the mound, and Randy Wolf is a guy that he will call the catcher out from time to time and pretty much go over what he wants to do. So basic scouting report that you would pretty much give for any pitcher, and it's going to be a learning process for Lucroy. Here tonight against Randy Wolf.
Well, you don't think of baseball players as hitting the books, but that's exactly what Lucroy has done here since his arrival on Friday in Minneapolis. Studying lineups, studying batters. It's a tough position to break in, the catching position. That's why you don't see a lot of young rookie catchers make a big splash in the big leagues. Lucroy will get his chance in 2010. Good changeup from Wolf and Berkman out in front, and it's a ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, one thing's for sure, the Brewer organization very high on young Jonathan Lucroy. They say he handles himself, technically very well behind home plate. He gives a good target, very quiet behind home plate, not a lot of movement, and he's a smart kid. He's going to learn quickly.
A lot of high praise for Lucroy, including from his teammate Craig Counsell, who doesn't speak often, but when he does, you pay attention, and he thinks very highly of Lucroy and his big league future. Berkman sends one into left center, and the speedy Gomez will run it down. A 3-up, 3-down inning for Randy Wolf. pick up a win tonight here at home. It would be only their 5th win of the season. Maka's lineup is brought to you by Subway. Weeks, Gomez, and Braun at the top with Fielder, McGee, and Hart in the middle. Prince Fielder last year against Houston, a terrific season with 5 home runs and 15 driven in. Bottom of the order for Maka is Escobar, Lucroy, and Wolf. And there is Felipe Paulino at 0-6 on the season, pitching for Houston.
Now, the walks have hurt him quite a bit so far this year. He's up amongst league leaders in walks. He's 5th in the National League, but he's only given up the 1 home run, and the opponent batting average very good.
Paulino is a hard thrower, as you can see by that first fastball. Has a strikeout per inning. And a bit of an enigma why he has been unable to win this year. He hasn't been as bad as his record would indicate, according to those who watch him every day. He is coming off a very good start. His last time out, where he gave up just 2 hits and 2 runs, as Ricky Weeks bangs one into right field, a base hit. A leadoff single for the Brewers, and Weeks is aboard. How about a scouting report? We go to Brewers hitting coach Dale Swain for that.
Well, he's got a really above average fastball. You can get it to 98 miles an hour. Stays probably more at 95, 96. Pretty straight fastball. Hard slider, and mixed in a curveball and some changeups. But kind of a thrower. He mixes all his pitches really well. So you just got a guy you got to get strikes on.
Yeah, try and chase up out of the strike zone. Going to be tough to get on top of him, get a piece of him when he throws that hard. But the Brewers have always been a very good fastball hitting ball club. That's why Paulino has struggled against Milwaukee. 0-3 against the Brewers in his career.
Paulino with 6 innings of 2-hit baseball against the Rockies his last time out. Colorado lost that game. The Astros, for the first time this year, won a game that Paulino started. He did not get the win in that game. He took a no decision, but you could kind of see where he trends. A lot of walks for Paulino in his last start. Big hard thrower from the Dominican Republic. He was actually signed out of the Houston Astros Venezuelan Academy, legendary academy that was once led by Andres Reyner. Some of the great stars in the big leagues coming from that academy, guys like Richard Hidalgo and Bobby Abreu, Freddie Garcia. At one time, the Astros international scouting pool was as deep as anyone in the game.
Yeah, and Paulino signed as a shortstop out of that Venezuelan academy. That was back in 01. They turned him into a pitcher.
Ball and 2 strikes on Carlos Gomez. Gomez with a much-needed day off, coming back from the disabled list on Friday. And once you're down for a couple of weeks, then you get back into action. You can get a little tight, and Gomez was feeling a little tight on Sunday. Snap throw to first. Back is Weeks. Now Gomez this weekend in Minneapolis. How about the numbers in his return? Had a home run. He drove in 5. And hit for a .357 batting average.
And that hit right there, the one that you saw down the left field line on Saturday, tied the ball game. Enjoyed that home run on Friday in Minnesota. Actually flipped the bat. It landed right on top of Joe Mauer. Mauer didn't mind. Twins up at that time, 15-0.
Weeks takes off. Gomez slices one foul. And Gomez, after that home run, had an apology after the game for his teammates, and probably against no other team could he have gotten away with such antics in a 15-0 game. But the Twins know him well. They know his personality, and Gomez apologized, said he wasn't trying to show anybody up. He just got lost in the moment. One thing about Carlos Gomez is Weeks is just back, and an enthusiastic call by Mike Easterbrook.
Gomez has that infectious energy. Everything he does, he's 100%.
Yeah, he has earned his nickname, which is Go-Go. Ricky takes off again. Gomez fouls it away. So Weeks getting a couple of wind sprints between first and second.
Now Paulino not very quick to home plate, so you figure the Brewers at least on a 3-2 count. Gonna try and steal base, get something going. Brewers 82% this year in stolen bases, and Ricky 3 for 5.
He stays put. Gomez fouls another one off. Now both of the Houston catchers throw the ball exceptionally well. Humberto Quintero and Quintero's backup catcher Kevin Cash. Full count to Gomez with Weeks at first. And another close play over there.
Yeah, Quintero about 35%. Anything over 33% considered to be pretty good. 9 out of 26.
Almost unheard of these days. Well, most of that burden on the running game falls on the pitcher's shoulders. But a good throwing catcher is kind of like a shutdown quarterback in football, right? You don't attempt with your non-base stealers when you have a good catcher back there.
And you always know you have a good throwing catcher when he tries to pick runners off of first base. Try and keep them close. Keep that secondary lead at a minimum.
Full count to Gomez. Pops it up. Berkman will have a play, and he's got it for the out. So Gomez, a long battle with Felipe Paulino. 10-pitch at bat, and that's the first out. Here's the defense for Houston tonight. Carlos Lee, Michael Bourne, and Hunter Pence in the outfield. Pedro Feliz, Tommy Manzella, Jeff Keppinger, and Lance Berkman around the horn. And Brad Mills has a battery of Felipe Paulino with Humberto Quintero. What a nice basket catch from Lance Berkman at first. Here is Ryan Braun with one away and Weeks at first. Braun, the top vote getter among National League outfielders on the first release. Fan voting is underway. We encourage you to log on to the web, Brewers.com, or you can fill out your punch ballots here at the ballpark. 25 times you can vote per email account. And among outfielders, as Braun hammers one way back center field, Bourne can only watch. Wow! Ryan Braun goes off the Miller Lite side in center field. A towering home run. And it's 2-0 Brewers in the first inning. My goodness.
Well, only the second home run allowed by Felipe Paulino. That's one thing he's done a pretty good job of. Keeping the ball in the ballpark, but not this time. A high fastball. He blew one right by Ryan the pitch before. Not this time. Boy, Ryan didn't even get full extension on that swing and knocked it high off the center field scoreboard, up off the Miller Lite sign, and the Brewers with a 2-0 lead. Talk about power.
Is that amazing or what? Braun does not even get extension and hits one that far.
Yep, that ball got in on him just a bit. Man.
That's one of the longer home runs that Braun has hit. Normally when he hits the big flies, I mean the real big flies, he hits them into left center. Straightaway center. Just a mammoth home run from Braun. That was Prince Fielder-like.
Now check out where Ryan Braun makes contact with his baseball. It's right down the middle. You can see Ryan making contact back here. Ideally, you want it out here a little bit. That's where you're going to really get the big flies. The balls are going to sail out of the ballpark, but still in all, he's strong enough. He got it on the sweet spot and knocked it way back in center field.
Braun's 8th home run of the year. Fielder takes a strike and is 3-1. So Ryan now with 8 home runs, 31, make it 32 driven in. Fielder had a good cut. Full count. Prince with 7 home runs, 19 RBIs. He hit a laser of a home run on Sunday at Target Field in Minneapolis. And the home run numbers starting to come for Prince. Draws a walk. And a base runner for the Brewers with one out. Let's take you back to Sunday.
First pitch slider from Carl Pavano. This gave the Brewers a two-run lead. It gave them 4 runs, which would end up being enough to get the win. Brewers would win 4-3. Brewers doing a lot of damage on Sunday on first pitch strikes against the Twins.
Now a nice win for Milwaukee against Minnesota in that final game of the series. 5 pitchers used in that game. And as Casey McGee was talking about before the game today, that was the kind of win that can maybe get a club jump started a little bit. McGee continues to be a big story in the National League. He is the National League leader in runs batted in. Speaking of all-star voting, McGee currently 3rd in the first release of the all-star voting. So Brewers fans are going to have to do their best to help McGee's cause this year.
Yeah, he certainly deserves it. He leads the National League in RBIs. He's one behind Miguel Cabrera for the Major League lead. Cabrera with 40.
Now Casey, among National League third basemen, is first in batting average. Comes in today batting .309. Some of those batting average numbers as a DH. He's hitting .325 as a third baseman. He's first in hits, RBIs, slugging percentage, and OPS when you compare him to the rest of the National League third basemen. Now the 2 best third basemen on the production side have to be in this division with Casey McGee and David Freese of the St. Louis Cardinals.
And both of them you would expect to be a bit of a surprise to be at the top of the leaderboard in those categories, particularly Freese. Who would have thought over there in St. Louis, a team that's had a tough time lately scoring runs.
2-2 to McGee.
Yeah, Paulino having an awful time trying to throw breaking pitches for strikes, and if that continues, he's going to be in for a long day. He can't throw the curveball, the slider for strikes. He missed a couple of times to Prince with changeups.
Casey chases one, and down it goes on strikes. That is out number 2. Now Ryan Braun with a 2-run home run. And the Brewers as a team now with 55 home runs this year. That is second to the Arizona Diamondbacks for the team lead in the National League. A couple of years ago, the Brewers led that category. And the home run bats throughout this lineup. McGee has 9, Braun has 8. Corey Hart with 9 as well. Hart has been on a home run binge here lately.
Yeah, 6 home runs in his last 11 games, hitting over 300. Talked about Corey on our Brewers Live pregame show today.
Hart during that stretch with 11 runs batted in to go along with those 6 home runs. There's a slider for a strike. Powerball home run leaderboard. Ryan Braun now with 8 after his 2-run poke just a moment ago, and Hart and McGee share the club high in that category. The Powerball home run leaderboard totaling 55 for the year for Milwaukee.
Yeah, Arizona with 57. They've slowed down somewhat. They had a big lead early on, but Kelly Johnson continues to hit the home runs. He's got 12. Not bad for a second baseman.
No, not at all. And down goes Hart. So Paulino found that slider for the last 2 hitters. Strikes out McGee and Hart. But Ryan Braun hammers one to center field. And a 2-0 Brew Crew lead.
Browns put the Brewers in front 2-0 as we go to the second inning here at Miller Park. Reporting from the Brewers sideline, I'm Drew Olson. Happy day for the Brewers today. They're coming off a day off. They beat the Twins Sunday in Minnesota, and they welcome back bullpen coach Stan Kiles less than a month after he underwent prostate cancer surgery at his home in South Carolina. Stan says everything is great with his recovery, other than the fact that the Brewers went 9-20 during his absence. And guys, he said he is cleared to go 100%. In fact, he was stunned when Dale Swaim told him he didn't have to throw BP today. He said, Dale told him we're going to work you in early. He said, Dale, I've been resting for a month.
He's ready to go. It was great to see him. It really was, just for morale. You know, when you go down with prostate cancer, it really awakened the ball club, and we're glad to have him back. And Stan is back where he belongs in that Brewers bullpen. And meanwhile, we want to wish all the best to Fred Dabney, who filled in. He'll be heading back to Brevard County. He is the single-A pitching coach there in Brevard County in the Florida State League. So great job, Fred. And it was good to get to know Fred a little bit better as well.
And in the meantime, he's getting filled in on everything that's been going on in the last, 31 games?
Little bouncer from Carlos Lee out to McGee. And the first out. We had a chance to visit with Stan, and here are his thoughts about returning and his recovery.
I feel great. I definitely used up a lot of prayers, you know, for it to go as well as it did. You know, I'm doing great. It couldn't have gone any better than I thought it would. And, you know, my wife and I are here now and pleased as punch, and we're feeling pretty good. Everything went great.
Yeah, good to have Stan back. And while we're at it, we send our best out to Bob Uecker as well, who is recovering from heart surgery. And hopefully we'll get a chance to see Uecker at the ballpark as well this week. He won't be working in any capacity for a while yet, but his recovery is coming along nicely as well.
Yeah.
And I like what you told Stan earlier today. You know, if you're going to go through surgery, you don't want to do it around the same time Bob Uecker goes through surgery.
Yeah, right. I mean, I guess, Stan was saying, yeah, it's good and bad. You know, you don't want to hear, people talking about it too much, but still in all, Mr. Baseball was getting a lot of the attention. I know Bob Uecker doesn't feel good about that either, but they have both been missed. Stan Kiles back, Bob Uecker well on his way back to recovery.
Well, Stan has a lot of new faces down in that bullpen from the last time he was in there. Two balls, two strikes on Hunter Pence. Randy Wolf has retired the first four to start this game. The former Astro, Randy Wolf, spent 1 year in Houston. And the Astros were involved in a big gamble for Randy Wolf after his season there. 2 seasons back, Astros offered him a 3-year deal. It wasn't the kind of money he was looking for. So he ended up signing a 1-year contract with the Dodgers to play for Los Angeles last season, and he parlayed that into a new 3-year contract as he misses against Pence and the first Astros base runner.
Yeah, 2008, Randy Wolf split time between the San Diego Padres and the Astros. He made 12 starts with Houston that year. He was 6-2 at a 3.57 ERA. So he did pretty good work in what is considered to be a hitter's ballpark, Minute Maid Park, particularly for a left-handed pitcher. A lot of right-handed batters in that short porch and left.
Big swing and a miss from Pedro Feliz. There's a lot of former Phillies in this game here today. Randy Wolf is one of them. Pedro Feliz, Michael Bourne. Feliz, part of the Phillies' great run, their consecutive National League East titles. And Feliz choosing the Astros in free agency. The Phillies just filled that hole nicely with Placido Polanco, however.
Yeah, that was a good move for the Phillies, but Pedro Feliz has always been considered a very good defensive third baseman, and he'll come up with some big hits for you. Good player.
0-2 the count on Feliz.
And another Philly connection on these Houston Astros. Jason Michaels was a Philly.
That's where the Wolf Pack started for Randy Wolf in Philadelphia. He was the Phillies ace back in 2002. Matter of fact, he spent the first 7 years of his career in Philadelphia.
Yeah, best year with Philly, 2003, was 16-10. Had a good year.
That was his All-Star season, the only year he has made the All-Star team. Wolf just had injury issues. Randy Wolf had the Tommy John elbow surgery in 05. Had a big year in 03, as Rock mentioned, and then started to deal with some elbow pain that ultimately required surgery in 2005. Then he had shoulder surgery 2 years later. And it was in the midst of all of the arm issues, the surgeries, the comebacks, that he finally found his pitching once again in Los Angeles last year. One of the best years of his career. He was 11-7 last year and a 3.23 earned run average. Bouncer to Escobar. He's got a long way to go, and a little hesitation cost him an out. Feliz is safe.
Well, no way you're going to get Hunter Pence at second base on a ground ball like that. Pence runs very well. So you have to know who the runners are on base. There's no way you're going to get Pence at second. You got to grab that baseball right away, go to first. Any little hesitation, and Pedro Feliz is going to be safe. Pence clearly would have been safe if he throws to second. And too late now to get Feliz.
That'll go as an infield hit. And the first hit for the Astros. 2 on now against Randy Wolf for Humberto Quintero. Bouncer, McGee, great play. And he'll go to the bag and get the out. How about Casey? Not just with the bat, but with the glove as well. An outstanding play that saves a run and an extra base hit.
Yeah, just not an offensive player. He's been playing a very good third base this year. Home Depot doing more on defense, saving a run for Randy Wolf. Certainly would have gone down in the corner, and with Pedro Feliz's speed, it might have scored 2. As it stands, Randy Wolf able to get out of this inning with nothing on the board. And early Home Depot doing more on defense.
So 2 outs, and here is Manzella. Tommy Manzella, their everyday shortstop this year. He's had a rough go of it this season.
Sounds like a prize fighter.
Yeah, that's right. Terrible Tommy Manzella. Louisiana native. Manzella got a little time with the Astros last year, just 7 games. Officially a rookie this year. Tall, rangy shortstop that has not done much with the bat at this point. That's been the story for Houston. Their offense has been dismal this year leading up to this series.
Yeah, the Astros last in just about every offensive category. Runs, hits, home runs, walks, slugging percentage. They just have not been able to put many runs on the board, and they have a pretty good lineup when you look at Lance Berkman, Carlos Lee, Hunter Pence. I mean, the middle of this order, on paper, pretty good, but they just haven't been able to do it.
So as the Brewers' struggles point toward the mound, the Astros' struggles go right to those in the lineup. Houston has dropped 8 of their last 10. They started the season 0-8. Took Brad Mills almost 2 weeks to pick up his first big league managerial win. And now Randy Wolf wants the young catcher Lucroy out to the mound for a visit.
And this is anticipated. This is certainly something that you would expect. Randy Wolf, doesn't like to really take things for granted out there. If he can't get on the same page with his catcher, have a little chat. He does this even when Greg Zahn was out there.
Zahn on the disabled list. It cut of a miss. Curveball from Randy Wolf, and it's 2-2. Manzella, a 27-year-old rookie. He's been a pretty good hitter through the Astros minor league system. Last year hit 289 in AAA Round Rock. Fastball just missed.
Yeah, good pitch followed up that big looping curveball. They go real slow, then go real hard inside. Just missed the corner. Good try.
Both runners will be on the move with the pitch. 2 on with 2 out. And again, Randy Wolf wants Lucroy out to the mound. Okay, Jonathan. Here's what we're thinking. It's going to take a little time. Lucroy caught Randy Wolf a great deal this spring, but different circumstances in the regular season.
Yeah, it didn't matter in spring training. You know, in spring training, Randy Wolf might have just said, all right, I'll throw that, but not now. Not when it counts.
See what he has for him here with 2 strikes. Keeping the runners honest. And that's ball 4. Well, with a pitcher coming up next, Wolf walking Manzella, and the bases are loaded.
I think the rhythm for Randy Wolf is not very good right now. I think that, you know, he and Jonathan Lucroy have to start getting together a little bit. Randy Wolf appears to be getting a little bit frustrated, but you know, consider this. I mean, it's really not Jonathan Lucroy. You can't fault him too much. He really isn't used to catching Randy Wolf. You know, not only is he, you know, has to pick the right pitch, but the location as well. So Wolf might want a fastball. Lucroy will give him a fastball, but then if you shake off again, and you know it's either going to be a fastball in or out. You shake yes for the pitch and then no for the location. And Lucroy looked like he was looking fastball, got the curveball. Way out of sync right now, both of them.
And it's 2-0 on the pitcher, Felipe Paulino. Rock mentioned Paulino was signed as a shortstop. He's been a very good hitting pitcher this year. 5 hits in 13 at-bats. Bases loaded for Houston with 2 outs. Paulino takes a strike. And you see Randy Wolf, a little encouragement for his catcher. Good job. Normally a catcher is trying to work the pitcher through the game, but tonight you already get the feeling that Randy Wolf is trying to work Jonathan Lucroy through this game.
Well, he did that with Greg Zahn, but Greg Zahn just got accustomed to what he wanted to do, and it was like that early on with he and Greg. And it's a tough situation for Lucroy. I mean, I've been in that spot. I mean, when I got called up, I was, you know, catching guys, you know, in the major league level for the first time, and it's not an easy thing. You can get frustrated back there. You feel bad. You're not putting down the right signs.
2-2 the count. Well, after all of that, Randy Wolf will get out of the inning. And lessons learned between Wolf and Jonathan Lucroy. Great glove work by McGee in the inning as well.
Park. The Brewers lead Houston 2-0. Ryan Braun's homer gave the Brewers a lead, and Casey McGee protected it with this excellent play. We spoke to Casey McGee before the game about the glove that he's using this year. He changed it up.
I had my first glove from the day I signed until the beginning of this year, and I just got to the point where the repairs didn't quite hold up anymore, so I had to find something else to use, and finally pulled the trigger on it. It was something I had to think long and hard about, but finally just had to catch up with the times, I guess.
Now, guys, Casey said he kept the old glove for emergency purposes.
And for sentimental value as well, I'm sure.
I think new glove's working out pretty well.
That was a nice play.
Good move.
But you never want to give up your gamer, do you?
You never get rid of it. He'll hold on to it.
What do you do with all your old gloves, Rock? Escobar lines one to left. That'll fall. A base hit. Alcides Escobar with a single to start the second inning.
We got two of them down in the rec room.
Keep them oiled up.
No, they're just hanging up there. I got the no-hitter glove hanging up in the rec room.
So, Rock, between innings, Jonathan Lucroy meeting up with Greg Zahn.
Well, Zoney just trying to encourage him a little bit. Say, just keep working at it. There's certain pitchers that you're going to take a little bit longer to get used to. And, Randy and Lucroy, they're going to work together. I mean, it's nothing personal. And Randy Wolf, although he may look frustrated, but he understands completely. There are certain pitchers that are much more complex in calling a game for than others. And I think, a guy like Gallardo is pretty much straightforward. I mean, he's pretty much predictable as to what he wants to throw. But, Randy Wolf could be a little bit different because he throws that curveball at any count. He'll throw the slider. He's got the cutter, all those types of pitches. So for a guy like LaCroix, it could be a little bit more difficult to get together.
Well, you appreciate Greg Zahn coming over between innings. Zahn on the disabled list, veteran catcher, helping along the young LaCroix here tonight. That's impressive.
Yeah. Well, if you can't get out there and play, you got to figure out another way to help out. And Greg Zahn certainly has been around an awfully long time, and as a backup catcher, didn't play a whole lot. Stretches where he didn't play, and certainly I would imagine did the same, for those guys.
You see Zahn there with the open notebook. That is the hitter's chart for the Astros. So Zahn getting into the game plan as much as he would if he was starting behind the plate this game. He brought on a young catcher last year in Baltimore, Matt Wieters. Similar role. Wieters, of course, the everyday catcher this season, and one of the reasons Zahn was traded to Tampa Bay. There's a bouncer going to turn into two for Felipe Paulino. A 4-6-3 double play off the bat of Jonathan Lucroy.
There's really no replacing experience and being back there and knowing that you've got a guy out there that sometimes will pitch backwards, and the longer you're out there, the more years you play, the more pitchers that you catch. I mean, the better you'll be able to adjust. Now, keep in mind, Jonathan LaCroix hasn't been catching every day, for his entire career. I mean, it's only been 3 years now that he's been an everyday catcher. He used to play other positions. It makes it even more difficult.
Randy Wolf. Little bouncer back up the middle. Keppinger bobbles, and Wolf is safe.
That should be a base hit. Once that ball got over Paulino's head, it was going to be a tough play. I guess Manzella had the best shot at it, but he's played over toward the hole. He can't get there. But the angle and the fact that Keppinger's going toward left field making that play more difficult.
Well, they're going to charge Keppinger with an error. That's his 5th of the year. Well, the inning is extended. Randy Wolf at first. Back to the top of the order now, and Ricky Weeks.
That looked like a base hit to me. I mean, that would have been a tough play. Randy gets down the line pretty good, particularly, for a pitcher. And the way he was running away from first base, that would have been a very difficult throw. I think that's going to get changed.
At this point, it's Keppinger's 5th error, the 32nd for Houston. Astros and the Brewers with 32 errors apiece this year. bottom half of the pack of the National League in errors. Now Weeks single to right his last time up. He's hoping for a big homestand. Weeks came out of the box extremely hot this year in April. So on base percentage down to .341. That's really the key stat concerning your leadoff hitter. Batting average of .236 for Weeks, but that on base percentage, Ken Maka would like to see it around the .370, .375 mark as a baseline, as a minimum.
Yeah, he was way above that to start the season. He was about .500 about first month of the season, but has tailed off since. Nobody can keep that pace up.
Ball and 2 strikes on Weeks. And a little bouncer, going to be a tough play. Feliz coming on and makes a throw late. Ricky Weeks has a couple of hits, an infield single. And the Brewers with 2 on, with 2 out here in the second inning.
Well, making contact, that's the key. A breaking ball from Paulino, and no chance for Feliz. Surprised he even threw it. All of a sudden, Paulino's starting to throw his breaking pitches over for strikes.
He found his slider with 1 out in the first inning. After he walked Fielder, he struck out Casey McGee, and then he came right back and struck out Corey Hart. He had a number of sliders in those 2 at-bats. Here's Gomez now. Out to short. Manzella goes to second, and the inning is over. Brewers fail to score in the second. 2-0 Milwaukee. Will catch up with Doug Melvin when we come back. Is presented by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin, and by Ho-Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more.
When you're traveling this season, you can take the Brewers with you with MLB.TV Premium. You can enjoy HD quality home and away coverage, multi-game view, and the ability to pause and rewind live games. Visit Brewers.com to order and get more details. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere.
And no doubt a man who watches plenty of games on a nightly basis. Doug Melvin joins us here in the booth. Thanks for coming on with us, Doug. Obviously a lot of questions about the team, and we appreciate your time today. Just give us your thoughts, what you're seeing from Randy Wolf here early, however.
Yeah, I think Randy, it looks like the familiarity of he and Jonathan LaCroix, it's going to be important that they get together, and he got out of that last inning without any damage. So, you know, it's always tough on a young catcher. Bill knows when you got a veteran pitcher and you're always trying to do the right thing and hope you're putting down the right fingers and that, so that takes a little bit of time. Let's hope that they can get that straightened out.
Yeah, some new faces last week. Got Jonathan LaCroix. How about the 3 young kids that came up and made a big impact on Sunday out of that bullpen? They did a nice job.
Yeah, Marco Estrada and Braddock and John Axford, and that we had Zach Braddock on the plane or at the airport ready to come in 2 days previously, and had to call him, and Zahn got hurt, and we had to tell him to stay there and bring LaCroix up, and so we were busy making all those moves. The team was on the West Coast, made it a little bit difficult. But no, the pitching, those three guys really, set the tone for us to feel pretty good about the bullpen now. They've all got power arms. Estrada's got the 91, 92 with a good changeup. So what he did in Cincinnati really opened some eyes, and then Braddock and Axford, what they did in Minnesota opened some eyes. So it's a good feeling to think that we have those kind of power arms that coming from Nashville to help us.
That's not an easy thing for these kids to come into a close game. Braddock coming in and eating up 2 big innings, and then Axford saving the ball game. And ordinarily you bring a couple of guys up, you ease them in a little bit, pitch them in blowouts, middle part of the ball game, but did a nice job.
Yeah, we've dug ourselves a hole here early in the year with our losses and that. So, there's really not a lot of grooming and development here. We're looking for wins at this point.
Well, 2 quick outs for Randy Wolf. We're visiting with General Manager Doug Melvin. Mark Ananasio was in Minneapolis over the weekend. And what was some of the discussions between you guys and involving Ken Maka about how to move forward with this?
Well, I talked to Mark every day pretty well, so him coming to Minnesota wasn't any different. It was part of a trip that he was making and that. But, we talk every day about our team and that. And, the main thing I think that what Mark wants to see and what we have seen is that, you look at last September, how we never gave up. We had a good September. Obviously, the end result, not going to postseason, is disappointing. And I think the team is still fighting and battling, and that's the most important thing. You're not giving up. And I think Saturday's game was an indication of that. Sunday's game was an indication of that. All people on board and everybody chipping in. And Manny Parra gave up his start on Sunday, and I know there's a lot of pitchers that might not do that. They might complain. I don't want to give up my start on Sunday, and he gave it up and pitched 2 games to try to help the team. So, the guys are still pulling together. I've had talks with players and everybody seems to be pulling together and trying to get out of this thing. We've pitched well at times, but not good enough. That's obviously our biggest issue. And we've hit well at times, and then there's been a number of games that we haven't hit as well and scored a lot of runs. So we got to do a little bit of everything a little bit better if we're going to get back in this race.
Well, it has been quite an enigma as well, the home schedule. We talked about it at the beginning of the broadcast today, but what's your explanation, or what are you seeing for a 4-14 start to the home schedule? It just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. And, it was a few years ago that we had an awful road record. And Mark was asking me, what's the reason? Can we go back and look at other models and teams and get an exorcist or whatever and try to find out why we're so bad on the road? And you just don't really know sometimes. And I guess we did too good of a job finding out what happened on the road, and now we got the issue at home. But we'll get that turned around, too.
Can you stay another half inning?
Yeah, sure
We'll
can.
talk some of the hitters when we come back. Ryan Braun, he hit a 2-run homer in the first. Braun will bat when we come back. More with Doug Melvin when we continue from Miller Park. Tonight here at Miller Park, 2-0, the Brewers lead it, and Doug Melvin is joining us here in the booth as we get ready to watch Ryan Braun lead off this inning, and Braun's 2-run homer has the Brewers on top. And anytime you look at Ryan Braun, you start thinking about the draft. The draft is coming up on June 7th. Braun out of the 05 draft, but what's the plan moving forward here? Bruce Side, it'll be his second draft of his career.
Yeah, he's had all his supervisors in. They've held meetings this past week, and now they're out looking at tournaments and trying to get some final looks at some of these players. But you know, the draft's always a fun time of the year, and then you know, I get involved the last week with Bruce and with his cross-checkers. And it's always fun, and then the other fun part is looking back a few years later and say what could have and should have happened. And you know, Ryan Braun, for example, we really like Troy Tulowitzki too. There was Braun and Tulowitzki, and we talked to Tulowitzki's agent, Paul Cohen, and asked if he would move to third base because we had J.J. Hardy at shortstop. And if he'd have said, yeah, it doesn't matter where I play, I'll play third base, we might have taken Troy Tulowitzki instead of Ryan Braun. I guess either pick would have worked out for us. We're very happy with Ryan. And you know, and in the 2004 draft, I was talking to Jack Zarinzik today, and we took Mark Rogers in the first round. Giovanni Gallardo in the second round. And pick number 75, Jack Zarinzik had the card of Wade Davis of the Tampa Bay Rays. And
terrific young pitcher.
Yeah, and he's holding the card of Wade Davis. And Tampa Bay Devil Rays, pick number 75, take Wade Davis. So pick number 76 was our pick, and we took a pitcher that didn't make it for us. But you know, you're one pick away. The game is a game of inches on the field, and in the front office, sometimes it's a game of minutes and a lot of emotion running when you go back and look at these drafts.
And you can do that with any organization at any draft that you've ever been a part of, I'm sure.
Exactly. You know, when I first got the job in Texas with the Rangers in 1995, they took a player by the name of Donald Harris and a pitcher by the name of a kid out of Creighton, Dan Smith. And they could have taken Frank Thomas and Mike Mussina. And, you know, those kind of things happen, but, you know, that's the game that we're in, that we're involved with. It's a decision-making, and we have to make it. And, you know, we talk, I always critique myself a lot. You know, not the draft, but the trade of Carlos Lee a few years ago. We put Nelson Cruz in the trade, and now I hear a lot of why did we give up Nelson Cruz? Why did we put him in the deal? Well, you know, in the spring of 2008, the Texas Rangers put him on waivers. Anybody could have had him for $20,000. Right. And it turned out they were very fortunate. He got through waivers, and they brought him back up. But we traded Nelson because Corey Hart had a monster year. He was our future. We felt we were a team that hit home runs but struck out a lot. And as much as we liked Nelson, he fit that profile. Right. So you look back, I'd love to have Nelson Cruz back right now, and you kick yourself and say, geez, why didn't we take him when he was on waivers?
Hindsight, right?
Yeah, 30 other clubs missed on him. So, you know, when you're going through all these personnel decisions, you know, you have your hits and misses. I just think a credit to our scouts for taking Casey McGee, for John Axford, who was released by the Yankees in a tryout, and our pitching coaches, Fred Dabney and Jim Rooney at the time, working with these guys, getting them to the big leagues.
You know, year after year, the talent pool, fluctuates. You know, some good years, some bad years. How do you evaluate this year as far as the draft goes?
Yeah, I think there's going to be.
Look at it. Fielder, a little hopscotch, just does get out of the way and draws his second walk.
Well, I think it's evident. We'd like to get some pitching in that, and there's going to be some pretty good pitching available. You know, the tough part of the draft is there's college pitchers. You can look at Mike Leake, who's pitching for the Reds right now with no minor league time. You can look at Strasburg up top, but we have the 14th pick. And then there's some good high school pitchers that have come quick, but in most cases they take a little bit of time. But there seems to be enough pitching on the board. There's not a lot of positional players, and that's what I'm hearing in our minor league systems with other ball clubs too, that power's down in the minor leagues and positional players are down a little bit. So maybe we can take advantage of that extra pitching and hope we can hit on those right guys.
Well, you certainly hit on this guy at the plate, Casey McGee, picking him up from the Chicago Cubs. Cubs took him off their major league roster, and you mentioned Casey a moment ago as far as a talent evaluation, but just talk about what he's done and the fact that he's hit this well and been this productive at the major league level in what is basically a calendar year of full season play. He's belted over 25 homers and over 100 RBIs.
Well, I think Bill appreciates this. Dale Swaim, he's a baseball player, and he loves the game. He's out here early. He's willing to talk about it. I think he's very tough mentally. He's willing to make adjustments. He's got good plate discipline. I've heard some people say last year they thought they're going to be able to get him out on pitches outside part of the plate. You know, good hitters can lay off certain pitches, and he can drive it that way. And you know, Ken Mock has said Casey got a good chance of always being a good RBI guy. And I asked him why is that, and he said because he'll use the whole field and he'll go the other way. A lot of big RBI guys, you know, there's not many of them that are strictly pull hitters in that. So.
McGee called out on strikes. That was kind of a subtle strike call by Hunter Wendelstedt. Let's take another look at this pitch.
Check it out. It looked like a tailing fastball. It looked like it caught the edge, but was it high enough? Looked high enough, but Casey McGee somewhat surprised that ball was called a strike.
That was more of a Hunter's, you know, 2-strike call as opposed to his ring up. Strike 3. At any rate, here's Corey Hart off the end of the bat. That's going to fall for a base hit.
This is a guy that really has turned it on. I mean, and you really have to you go back to his ability to lay off that breaking ball off the plate. They've been throwing him fastballs, and he's been red hot.
Yeah, and you know, it's all about adjustments here. You know, there's so much video out on players today, and that they're never used to be, and you sort of took word of mouth from another scout, or sometimes you talk to an opposition pitcher. How'd you get this guy out? I'm having trouble getting him out. You exchange information and that, but it's all up to the player to work at it. Can he find a way of, like you say, laying off pitches in that regard? And you know, it's a confidence. I read an article the other day, Carlos Silva. You know, and I said to someone the other day, I said, you know, I had a bad year. I should have just signed Livan Hernandez and Carlos Silva and traded for Carlos Silva. Who,
you might not have made it to the season if you'd have done that.
Yeah, and I saw Carlos Silva said the difference from last year to this year is his confidence. He's in spring training. He threw the ball better. He felt good about himself, and it just carried over into each game. And this is a game of confidence, and you can't lose your confidence in that. And the game can beat you up if you let it. Whether you're a general manager, a manager, and players, and you just have to continue to keep pounding and working at it and talking about it and discussing it and having trust in your coaches. It's another thing hitters have to do, have trust in your coaches that sometimes what they're tweaking or what they're doing is in the best interest of the long haul, not just the short term. As far as streaks go, I don't have an answer for streaks. You know, hitters have streaks, and you know, April and May, they may not hit well. Teixeira didn't hit well in April, but at the end, his numbers will be there in that. So, but you know, it's a tough game, and somebody that's hot right now may not do much later on in the year. So, got some funny stuff going on.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I'm not sure what Polino was. He just threw a rainbow over there by the Astros dugout. I think Escobar called timeout where he thought it was being a little bit late. I guess I'm not sure. But check out Paulino. There it is. A little bit of a grenade over there to the sands. But
1-2 on Escobar.
You know, we had Robin Young up in the booth at Target Field on Sunday. He says it's not so much, you know, when you have bad stretch, it's not so much you get through it, you work through it. It's, you know, you can't assume that it's just part of the game, and it's going to change. You got to make it change. You got to do the work, and that's what your team has been doing.
Yeah, we're working through it, and I thought the weekend. That Saturday game would have been a great game to win, but we didn't do it. We ran out of time and that. But you know, let's hope that we can come back home here and play the kind of baseball we're capable of playing. And that. And every player I tried to talk to on the side said we're not as bad as we've played, and we need to get it going. So still a lot of season left, but you do run out of time if you don't put good games together. We got to play a little better defensively too. We got to make plays. You know, to help your pitching. Casey McGee's made some very good plays here recently, and that. So, you know, it does come down to pitching, though, in the end. You know, the thing that you don't have these 9-game losing streaks is if you have a couple aces at the top of your rotation, and they're going out there every 4 days. That prevents, you know, those kind of losing streaks.
Doug, we appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you very much, Brian. Thanks, Bill.
with the Astros, and it started with a bang from Ryan Braun, a 2-run homer in the first, putting the Brewers on top quickly. Randy Wolf with a couple of strikeouts thus far, some sparkling defense behind it by Casey McGee. That saved a run, possibly two. As we head to the fourth inning, we pick it up with one man out. Carlos Lee flies out to left field for out number one. He swings at the first Wolf offering of this fourth inning. So one gone for Hunter Pence, who walked his last time up. Appreciate a few moments with Doug Melvin here today. Always good to catch up with the general manager, and he has had a ton of sleepless nights, you would think, the way the season has started. And on the phones, one contrast though, Rock, you know, you look at the Astros at 15-29 for the year, and the Brewers are 17-27, but you're hearing different things coming from their clubhouses. Houston has a couple of guys, namely Roy Oswalt, who has requested a trade via his agent through Edway, the general manager. Lance Berkman said he would be up for a trade as well.
Right.
Politically, he said it, but the idea is that I think those two veteran players are not feeling like Houston is headed in a direction where they can get to the postseason, so they might want to end up elsewhere.
And what was that? What does that do to the morale of that clubhouse? You're almost forced to do something with guys like that. They made it obvious that they don't feel as though the team is going to do much. They want to go somewhere where they can win. Roy Oswalt scheduled to pitch against Milwaukee tomorrow, putting together a pretty good season, but doesn't have much to show for it.
And you're not hearing that kind of talk in the Brewers clubhouse. And our carsoup.com email the booth question has to do with that topic. Ryan in Lake Geneva wants to know which direction are the Astros attempting to go in, rebuild or contend. One thing about Houston, in their World Series year of 2005, they started the season 15-30. As Pence bounces one to McGee. 2 outs.
Well, I guess the answer to that question is going to be, you know, what happens or what's going to happen with the two guys that have said or have intimated to their general manager that they would, wouldn't mind a trade. If you trade Roy Oswalt, you trade Berkman, you know the direction that they're thinking. A rebuilding mode. If they keep him and maybe try and make some moves and trade away some of their minor league talent, some of their young players, and get a couple of bats, then they're going to, try and get it going and try and make a run to the postseason. Well, you're right. I mean, the Astros, the year they went to the World Series, got up to a miserable start. Remember Colorado a couple of years ago.
Right. Well, last year, remember they fired Clint Hurdle at the end of May and then hired Jim Tracy, and they could not be stopped, the Colorado Rockies last year. You never know how it can turn. That's why, obviously, things have not gone well for the Brewers. But I like what Randy Wolf had to say, and you like to hear what Doug Melvin had to say about the ball club, and a little unity that is still there, which you don't see right now with Houston. You see a couple of veteran players looking maybe to move elsewhere. And we're not around the Astros every day by any stretch, but when it became public and Roy Oswalt confirmed that he had requested a trade, he becomes the hot player on the trade market. He and Cliff Lee, if the Mariners don't get things turned around, are going to be the 2 A picks and the two guys that everybody is looking to trade for. And there are a ton of scouts in the ballpark tonight, and they'll be back tomorrow to see Roy Oswalt pitch against the Brewers.
Well, the thing is, once that stuff becomes public, once a player or an organization says they're shopping a player, you're not going to get as much as you normally would. And the longer you wait, the less you're going to get as well.
There's a 2-out walk to Pedro Feliz. And a base runner for the Astros. The numbers on Roy Oswalt. 9 starts this year. Look at the earned run average and the strikeouts. He has pitched great, but just 2 wins to show for it. And you think back to Jake Peavy last year. Jake Peavy was very adamant with the Padres that he did not want to leave San Diego. He was not going to waive his no-trade clause. Oswalt has a no-trade clause in his deal, and published reports have stated that he has just a few teams in mind. The Braves, the Texas Rangers, But Oswald has said he will only waive his no-trade clause to go to a contender. So all of a sudden the player has even more impact.
Right. Yeah, Roy Oswald, as we talked about, those numbers outstanding. Every one of his 9 starts this year, quality starts. He's gotten only a little over 2 runs of support this year, the lowest in the major leagues. So I guess you don't blame him for, I guess wanting to go to a team that score him some runs and put up some numbers.
It's just incredibly early to hear that kind of chatter.
Right.
With the player wanting to maybe end up elsewhere. Good looking breaking ball from Wolf. And it's a ball and 2 strikes on Humberto Quintero.
When you consider the amount of money they gave Carlos Lee to sign with Houston, I mean, that is a huge contract that the Astros have to sit on, so they're not going to be able to do much with Carlos. Carlos Lee, Lance Berkman really not doing much.
Strike called. Randy Wolf rings up the Astros catcher. Quintero is gone. Randy Wolf with his 3rd strikeout.
Hosting a celebrity golf tournament June 7th at beautiful Black Wolf Run Golf Course in Kohler. The tournament benefits the Open Arms Home for children in South Africa, as well as Brewers charities. Robin Yount, Gorman Thomas, and a score of others are going to participate. All teams, all foursomes will have a celebrity golfer, and somebody might even get rocked. For more information on this memorable golf experience, visit brewers.com/Davey.
Oh, now we wish Davey the best of luck. Thank you, Drew. There's Davey. Now he sits on that side of the booth, but I noticed I went into the radio booth the other day. He does not sit in Bob Uecker's chair. And that's not a bad move.
No.
Kind of moves that chair off to the side. Davey joining Corey Provis. You see Kent Sommerfeld hard at work back there. Jonathan LaCroix leading off for Milwaukee here in the 4th.
Yeah, it's like sitting in Uke's seat on the bus or on the plane. You just don't do that.
Nope.
Nope.
It has remained empty. Let's see if Lucroy can come up with his first Miller Park base hit. He's singled in his very first Major League at-bat. That was in Minneapolis on Friday at Target Field. That's a moment he'll never forget. 2-2 the count. And a bouncer that is under the glove of Feliz. So Lucroy is aboard, and that will go as a base hit. Certainly a ball that could have been played. This was Lucroy's first major league hit.
Yep, got the head out on one, and the Twins very gladly, throw that ball in the Brewer dugout. That'll be on the mantle somewhere for Jonathan LaCroix, and base hit number 2. They changed that error that they gave to Keppinger to a base hit.
That was on Randy Wolf.
That's a good decision. I thought that was a base hit. That would have been a tough play.
So that means the Brewers now with 7 hits in this game. Randy Wolf, the benefactor of that change call back in the 2nd inning. Wolf now has 8 hits in 24 at-bats. He's batting .333. He's up there to bunt Lucroy to second. And another one bunted foul.
Now you talk to Randy about his hitting and all the base hits. You know what? He doesn't want to hear anything about the base hits. He says, I need to bunt the ball better. He's had a tough time dropping down to sack bunts. Swinging away has been a little bit different.
Now Wolf does not have a sacrifice bunt this year. See what he does with 2 strikes. Squares early. And he takes one up high for a ball. Well, all the wildlife out there in the concourse. You've got the Wolf Pack, and Lance Berkman's nickname is the Puma. So they're all coming together here. Circle of life, Rock. Circle of life.
Takes all kinds at the ballpark, doesn't it?
And that's our buddy. Keenly watching this at bat by Randy Wolf. Pops it up, and it's caught. Would have been a strikeout anyway had it dropped, but instead an F2, and Lucroy stays at first. That leads us to our AT&T trivia question. 14 pitchers in the history of the game have pitched in 1,000 games. Which 3 have also pitched for the Brewers? So 3 of the 14. You know Trevor Hoffman's on that list. Appeared in his 1,000th game on Sunday in Minneapolis. Top of the order, here's Weeks.
I know one of them. Left-hander.
Got to think about relievers.
Right. Been around a long time.
Snap throw to first. Lucroy is back.
I think I might know both of them.
Better write those down.
I'm gonna.
I don't want you to forget. Might be one of recent memory. How about that?
Yeah. Like last year. Is that too much?
Maybe. It's all right though. It's warranted. There's 3 answers, you know. I gave one of them.
I know.
So I'm already in a little bit of heat.
Right.
From the truck. Chris Withers produces.
They're awfully quiet
game.
down there right now, so I think they're a little upset.
Michael Odino's your director. Brian Mikulášek doing whatever he does.
Trivia questions.
He's kind of a utility man in there. Got his bowling shirt on, all ready to go for the series. A 2-run homer by Ryan Braun in the first has held up at this point. Crew trying to get Braun to the plate in this inning. Got a runner at first with Weeks at the plate. And that is on the corner for a strike. Ball and 2 strikes. Braun hit one almost that far. His first time up. The excuse me swing by Weeks. What a great night tonight. Actually, a few showers through the area about 3 o'clock.
Really?
Out there in Lake Country.
Oh, okay.
Just as isolated of a thunderstorm as you can have. It's just on my house. Slow roller, that'll bounce foul. That way I don't have to water the grass now.
Well, your compound, well, that's about the size of a small county, right?
Yeah. Yeah, right.
I had no rain over by my house. None.
Couldn't ask for a better night tonight. Moon is out. Clear skies up above. Warm temperatures. Starting to feel like summer here in Milwaukee. Ready for the 1-2. And it's 2-2. Jonathan Lucroy at first looks like he wants to run. Not necessarily a base stealer. Lucroy has good speed.
He might take off on 3-2, but I don't see him trying to steal too many bases.
Stays put. Weeks sends one high in the air to left. Lee is back with room. Lucroy's going to tag, and he will stop. Just to test the arm of Carlos Lee. That's the second out of the inning.
Cast your vote for the We Energies High Energy Player of the Year. Vote today at Brewers.com/We Energies and automatically be entered for a chance to win lunch with the winning Brewers player.
Who's your early pick for High Energy Player of the Year? Carlos Gomez?
Carlos Gomez, Casey McGee.
This guy's got enough energy for an entire ball club. Gomez bats with 2 outs. Braun is on deck. And Lucroy still at first.
I like that award because it's not solely based on just numbers that a player puts up. I mean, what he adds to the team. And as you mentioned, talking about Carlos Gomez, the unlimited amount of energy that he has on a daily basis. He and Escobar, I think. 2 guys always messing around, doing a lot of stuff before the game.
Lucroy takes off. The pitch is low. The throw to second in time for the out. So Lucroy was trying to get a read, and he gets gunned down by Quintero.
Brewers lead the Astros 2-0 heading into the 5th inning. The National League All-Star leaders were announced today by Major League Baseball. This is the first run, and as you can see, going to the World Series is good for business. The Phillies dominating the list. You look at Chase Utley, he's a Southern California native. Yadier Molina leads. There's Cardinals at Albert Pujols at catcher. Carlos Ruiz is second. There are Phillies getting a lot of votes. Ryan Braun is the leader among outfielders for All-Star balloting. Now, Ryan Braun would love to make it back. He started the last 2 All-Star games, but this one will be in Southern California, close to his home. Casey McGee, third in the balloting at third base. I think Ricky Weeks is a bit of a surprise at second place, but this is just the first run. The results won't be announced until July 4th, guys.
Yeah, a lot of voting back and forth, and you can understand why so many Phillies are on the first release of the All-Star voting. The Phillies just finished a long homestand, and they just finished their 65th consecutive sellout. So they put 45,000 in the ballpark every day. Not that there aren't good players, great players in Philadelphia.
Yeah, they deserve it. I mean, they are some of the best players in the league, and just because Ryan Braun is leading right now doesn't mean that our fans can get complacent, and they never are. Start stuffing that ballot box, keep getting Ryan into that game.
Tommy Manzella with a base hit to right. Astros have a leadoff runner here in the 5th inning. Now, so far, Randy Wolf with 4 shutout innings. He's been concerned about his walks numbers here lately. That pitch up in the strike zone.
Yeah, good swing by Manzanella. It was on the corner, but it was up. Manzanella able to fight it off into right field. So a leadoff base runner for the first time for the Astros.
Randy Wolf with 3 walks and 2 hits allowed. 5 base runners in this game. Wolf was very outspoken after his last start against Pittsburgh. He took a loss, but he had a lead going into the 7th inning. But he ended up giving up 6 runs in 6 1/3, and he walked 5, which was 1 off his career high. Paulino pops one up.
Yeah, his post-game comments were rather hard on himself. I mean, he didn't want to make any excuses. Certainly didn't make excuses, and said he needs to do a better job out there on the mound. He hasn't been able to get it done. How you like that? No excuses. Don't talk about mechanics, things like that. Saying I got to do better.
Yeah, they asked him after the game, "What are you concerned about?" And Wolf says, "I'm concerned that I stink." There's a bunt, and McGee's going to second for 1. Escobar the turn, and it's in time. One of the dancer's feet of Alcides Escobar puts him in a position to throw the baseball. I think the Astros felt like that was perhaps a foul ball. They're arguing with first base umpire Mike Easterbrook.
Well, Casey McGee got there quickly. You're very unusual 5 to 6 to 4 double play. You don't see that very often. That's a fair ball. I don't know what anybody's squawking about. How about the arm of Escobar jumping out of the way and a good throw to Ricky over at first base. 5 to 6 to 4 on the putout.
I'm not sure what Paulino's argument was at first base. Brad Mills is now discussing it with Hunter Wendelstedt.
Well, unless it hits his foot before it rolls into fair territory. It looked as though the ball started in foul territory, rolled in fair territory, but if it hits his foot, it's a foul ball. Pretty close to hitting his foot. Maybe that's what Paulino's talking about right there.
Here's a better look at it. Oh, looks like it hit him right on the top of the foot. A glancing blow, but it certainly changed the direction of the baseball. So the Brewers catch a break, and it goes as a double play. Top of the order now. Here's Bourne. Bourne, the only left-handed hitter in the lineup against Randy Wolf. Out to Weeks. And Wolf is through 5 against the Astros. Is presented by the Wisconsin Lottery and its family of instant scratch games. Odds are you'll like them. By Airtran. Go. There's nothing stopping you. And by GMC. We are professional grade. Carlos Gomez leads off. He drops a bunt down. Quintero, and a nice play by the Astros catcher. And Gomez is out. That was a pretty good spot for that bunt, but Quintero, a terrific defender. One gone in the bottom of the 5th.
Well, just deaden that ball just too much. He's trying to push that ball by Paulino. If you get it set out there a little bit more towards second base, it might be a base hit, but Quintero able to get out there quickly and good throw, able to get him at first base. Good idea. Like Carlos Gomez, try to get on base in front of Ryan and Prince.
Well, you got to be impressed with Quintero. Athletic catcher behind the plate. Made that play like a third baseman coming in on a bare hand pickup.
Yeah, the big key to that play is getting out of the crouch and getting to that baseball, being quick.
Ball and a strike on Braun. Ryan's got a new elbow protector on tonight and recently. This one's a little thicker. One he can remove. The one he had earlier, he kept on the entire game. But this one he takes off after his at-bats. Certainly didn't hurt him in the first. He hammered one to center field. Just a towering home run that hit the Miller light sign in center. And Braun's 8th home run, 2-0 Brewers on that long ball as Ryan dribbles one over to Berkman. 2 outs.
Well, tonight's time of the game winner is Ken's Keyboard in Osceola, Wisconsin. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours at 902-4572, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game this year. This all a courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite. Osceola on the most western edge of Wisconsin.
Osceola.
Northwestern edge of Wisconsin.
Good fastball from Paulino, gets ahead of fielder. We'll have to make a road trip up there in the offseason.
Well, that trip from Milwaukee to Minneapolis, go down 94. You get to the border and you head north. You don't have to go that far and you run right into it. Next time you're driving to Minneapolis.
I'm going to remember that.
Ken's Keyboard.
Pick up Damian Miller, head up to Osceola.
Now you're going way out of your way to pick up Damian.
That's not near lacrosse.
No.
Because when I think West, I think lacrosse. Fielder slices one foul. Count evens at 2-2. He made that drive after the Twin series.
Right. Minneapolis to Milwaukee, did not make it through Osceola. It was in too bit of a hurry. Too much of a hurry to get back home.
Yeah, you don't want to waste those off days.
Did stop in Mauston, though, for some gas.
How's the gas there?
Cheap.
Nice. Get a Slurpee. 93rd pitch coming for Paulino. He has pitched well. He was in some early trouble. He gave up the hit to Weeks to start it, and then the 2-run homer to Braun. He walked Fielder, but found his breaking ball in that first inning, and it's been a good pitch for him since, despite 7 hits allowed. And that is a big breaking ball that misses. Fielder draws his 3rd walk. And here comes Casey McGee. That was close.
All 3 walks that Paulino has issued have come to Prince Fielder. That was a big breaker going straight down. Paulino thought he had it at the top of the strike zone, but it's not where the catcher catches it. It's where it crosses home plate.
26-year-old Felipe Paulino, 0-6 this year, and a 5.36 ERA coming in. Casey McGee now with Fielder at first. McGee doesn't strike out a lot, but tonight Paulino has struck him out twice, and he punched him out looking in the 3rd inning. That one is line foul. Just got out in front of it. As McGee whistles one by the third base umpire, Mike Winters.
Well, that would have been interesting if that ball got down the corner in fair territory. With 2 outs, Prince Fielder running on contact. Carlos Lee takes a while to get down in that corner and doesn't have a very good arm. Might have been a run. Just a little bit out in front, the ball hooks foul. Casey got good wood on it.
Ball and a strike on McGee. Paulino throwing as hard now in the 5th inning as he has this entire game. Third time through the batting order. A 2-out walk to Fielder, and now Paulino matching up with McGee. Hard to figure how this guy is 0-6.
Yeah, he's got some good stuff. The Astros 1-7 in his starts. It's all about offense or lack thereof. Haven't been able to score many runs.
You look at Paulino, you almost sense a future closer with his stuff. Such a great fastball. Has that slider. It's that 3rd pitch that has kept him from being a dominant starting pitcher. As with a fastball like that, he could be. As McGee bounces one to short. Manzella to first, and the side is retired. 2-0 Brewers. The Braun home run still standing up tall. Good ball game tonight at Miller Park. Thanks for joining us, making the Brewers part of your plans tonight. Brian Anderson with Bill Schroeder. Drew Olson is with us. And it's 2-0 Crew as we head to the 6th inning. Randy Wolf working on a 2-hit shutout through 5. They'll have Jeff Keppinger to lead off. He's going to have to go through the middle of that Astros order. Keppinger, Berkman, and Carlos Lee. Keppinger is 0 for 2. The only 2 hits for the Astros, an infield single by Feliz. And the Houston shortstop Tommy Manzella with a single to right. That was last inning. Wolf has issued 3 walks.
Yeah, 3 walks for Randy Wolf. 2 of those coming in the 2nd inning where he left the bases loaded. It's been pretty good tonight.
Broken bat, and it's Escobar who will make the catch. 1 going in the 6th. AT&T Trivia tonight. 14 pitchers in Major League history have pitched in 1,000 games. Which 3 have pitched for the Brewers? Jesse Orozco, Dan Plesac, and Trevor Hoffman.
I had that one wrong. I thought David Weathers would be on that list.
Just missed. Orozco, the all-time games pitch leader.
Dan Plesac's name's come up a couple of times since the arrival of Zach Braddock. He reminds me a lot of Dan Plesac, the way he throws.
Hard-throwing left-hander.
Good slider.
And a soft curveball to Lance Berkman to even the count. Dan Plesac, the all-time Brewers franchise saves leader. It's going to be interesting to see the process with Trevor Hoffman. And if he returns to that closer's role. Hoffman pitched a scoreless inning on Sunday.
9 pitches. 3 up and 3 down.
John Axford was used to close the game. I think for Ken Maka, and just hearing Maka in his discussions about Hoffman, I think he wants to see Trevor do that a few more times before the chase to 600 can continue.
And in the meantime, I think he's happy with the way John Axford at least threw in his first opportunity as a closer anyway. One of Ken Maka's favorite terms is, we'll see how things go. That opens you up to any option. Non-committal.
The lazy pop-up, long way to go for Hart, and he'll settle under it for out number 2. And we want to say hello to our good buddy and colleague Bill Brown. He is at the hotel tonight in Milwaukee. The Astros television announcer has laryngitis. I mean, that's the kind of recurring nightmare that I have.
Really?
That you can't speak, doing this job. But Bill is recovering a little virus, and we want to wish him well. We know he's watching tonight. One of the great guys in all the game. Hope to see him back at Miller Park tomorrow.
Yeah, he's worked with the Astros a long time. Big part of their tradition.
Strike 1 to lead. Broken bat and a foul ball. And it's 0-2. Wolf is plowing through the Astros bat supply here in this first game.
Well, his slider, cut fastball, whatever you want to call it, has been very effective tonight. Set up by his fastball away. Anytime you can work both sides of home plate effectively, you're going to have success, and he's been doing that tonight. And he's been flipping up that soft curve, hadn't made a mistake with that pitch.
Here's the 0-2.
That's that fastball way we're talking about. Very key to the success of a lot of pitchers, particularly left-handers that don't throw too hard. Doug Davis, another one. Chris Narveson. You got to be able to throw that Fastball in the corner, the outside corner to right-hander to set up that cut fastball, that slider down and in.
Lucroy sets up inside. And Wolf missed in there. Ball and 2 strikes. Two outs in the 6th. Carlos Lee has had a dismal year with a bat. He is 0 for 2 tonight, currently batting 194. That's what ball players will say on the interstate. It starts with a 1, as in I-94.
And the one thing that's very shocking when you look at the numbers for Carlos Lee, only 8 walks so far this year. Here's a guy that walks a lot every single year, but only 8.
Monster numbers in his career. As that skips by Lucroy. I mean, you can almost pencil him in for 30 homers and 100 RBIs.
And you would think, navigating through this lineup, that Lance Berkman, Carlos Lee would be 2 pitchers or 2 hitters that pitchers would be thinking about pitching around. So you got to figure that, you know, Lee has been swinging at some pitches out of the strike zone. 8 walks for Carlos Lee. Wow. On base percentage of .233. That's not like Carlos.
He's in a battle with Wolf here. Long at bat. 3-2 pitch. And he popped him up. Wolf wins the battle on a changeup as Gomez makes the catch. 3 up, 3 down inning for Randy Wolf. Corey Hart ready to lead off. He's been hot. He'll start the 6th when we continue. Inning. It has been a pitcher's duel. Randy Wolf with 6 shutout, coming off a 3 up, 3 down inning in the 6th. Felipe Paulino winless this year, but is pitching well. He has not allowed a run since that Braun homer. And Paulino is back out there for his 6th inning of work. Braun's 2-run homer, his 8th home run of the year, as Corey Hart swings at the first pitch. Backing up is Pence. And it's out number 1. 1 pitch, 1 out for Felipe Paulino. We always encourage you to get interactive with us during the broadcast. We invite your text questions. And our Ho-Chunk Gaming text question tonight: what would it take for a team to acquire Roy Oswalt? Lindsay in Menominee Falls. You can text your questions to 234-234, keyword Brewers. It's going to take some prospects, and it's going to take the ability to acquire, absorb that big contract that Oswalt has, not only for the rest of this year, but the full season next year.
Yeah, maybe one big leaguer and then maybe 2 or 3 prospects and a whole lot of money to be able to spend, that's for sure.
The one team that's intriguing with the Roy Oswalt sweepstakes is he made it known last week that he would like to be traded. The Texas Rangers might be a team that could come into play. There was big news concerning the Rangers yesterday. They filed for bankruptcy, so that allows the process to be moved forward and the sale to go through, which means now the Rangers can then begin to bring on salary and get more into their budgets. Right now they can't because they're owned by Major League Baseball, and there's a lot of legal issues between the Rangers' former owner Tom Hicks and the creditors. So what it means is the Rangers can make an acquisition like that and bring on that kind of salary if that sale does finish up.
And would keep Roy Oswalt relatively close to home, like he is in Houston.
Texas is one of the teams that Oswalt has already said he'd be willing to accept a trade to. Oswalt pitches tomorrow. Oswalt against Narveson tomorrow. Right past Paulino. Going to be a tough chance now, and it is in time. A nice throw by Keppinger. Off balance sidearm throw gets the speedy Escobar.
And from what we've seen from Paulino, he doesn't field his position all that well. That's the second time that it looked as though he could have made a play. This kid is 6'2" and 270 pounds, so it takes him a while to move off that mound. Escobar getting jammed. That's why he was holding on to that hand in the dugout. Pretty close play at first base. But Keppinger shows a pretty good arm and accurate to get him.
2 outs for Jonathan LaCroix. LaCroix had a hit his last time up. Single to left. He was caught stealing to end the inning. The Brewers have 2 very athletic catchers right now in Kataris and LaCroix, a couple of guys who can run. While Greg Zahn is on the bench on the disabled list. Qatar is down in the bullpen tonight.
George's done a nice job since taking over for Zahn while he's been on the DL. Swinging the bat well. Handling the duties behind home plate. Talk about a guy that I would imagine feeling some heavy leg syndrome right now. That's what happens to you. You sit on the bench, you play a couple of days a week, all of a sudden you're in there 5-6 days a week, and those legs all of a sudden become a little heavy. It's kind of feeling the spring training legs again. Come on, George, stay with us.
George has blinking at different times with each eye. The delayed reaction. Look, if you're George Kataris and you've been catching this much, to your point, how great is it to have Randy Wolf doing what he's doing tonight?
Right.
LaCroix goes through, says home plate umpire. I'm not sure if that was a home run call or he says he swung, but LaCroix is out. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Felipe Paulino. The pitching continues here. Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by the new Miller Lite Vortex bottle. Taste greatness. And by Toyota. Thank you for standing by us. For more information, visit buyatoyota.com. Our Miller Lite, what's on tap? The Brewers and the Astros on WMLW tomorrow. We started at 7 o'clock. And then Thursday is a matinee. 11:30 is airtime for Brewers Live. We're back on Fox Sports Wisconsin for the remainder of the weekend. The Mets come to town Friday. Crowd of 27,363 on hand tonight. Almost a full moon as Randy Wolf is putting together his best start of the season. This will be the key inning for Wolf. 7th inning. He's only given up 2 hits to the Astros. Ken Maka and Rick Peterson discussing the rest of the way for Wolf. 3 walks, 3 strikeouts against Randy tonight. Pitch count in good shape for Wolf. He's at 92. Randy in his last start kind of hit the wall in that 7th inning against the Pirates. He's pitching pretty well up until that point. But Pittsburgh scored 3 runs in the 7th. All 3 of those runs charged to Wolf. Big bouncer out to Escobar. 1 gone here in the 7th for Randy Wolf. He's howling at the moon tonight, Rock. Randy Wolf has been impressive.
Well, he's been able to command his fastball and the cut fastball in and out. He's been very selective with the curveball. He got Carlos Lee on a changeup and a 3-2 pitch to end the last inning, and has really settled down nicely with he and Jonathan Lucroy. You can see the waxing gibbous, the moon phase. We're about 2 days away from a full moon.
Never ceases to amaze me. You come up with the waxing gibbous.
That's what it is.
I used to work with Peter Osterhaus. He knew every bird by its tweet.
Really?
And you know every moon. It's amazing. Incredible skill as Feliz pops one up. 2 quick outs here in the 7th.
Not many know more about mooning than me. Voting is now open for the 2010 All-Star Game in Anaheim. Help send your favorite Brewers to this year's game by voting up to 25 times at Brewers.com. Vote early and vote often. Vote today at Brewers.com. My father was a science teacher in junior high school.
And you paid attention. I don't ever remember learning that, the waxing gibbous. What will tomorrow's moon be?
Well, a little bit more waxing until it gets full moon, and then it becomes a waning gibbous.
It's incredible.
I don't make this stuff up.
I know you don't. It's
just
impressive.
Fact, you know.
It's shocking and impressive all at the same time. That one's hit well to center and a base hit. A hanging curveball, a waxing curveball from Randy Wolf. And Quintero with a single to center.
Yeah, we talked about the curveball. He hasn't used too many of them. Really hasn't had to use many of them. And that one stayed up in the strike zone and hit number 3 for the Astros.
All singles. Here is Tommy Manzella. And that one's lined into left. So Manzella with a base hit. The 7th and 8th place hitters for the Astros extend this inning. And now Brad Mills, the Houston manager, will go to the bench.
Manzella has put 2 pretty good swings on the baseball. Hit one to right, this one to left. Both fastballs, one away, one in.
And some bullpen activity. Well, an anxious moment here in the 7th. Randy Wolf has gone along beautifully tonight, but 2 on for the Astros, and it's going to be Jason Michaels pinch hitting for Felipe Paulino. Michaels has home run power. Had a couple of home runs against the Brewers last year. in back-to-back games, as a matter of fact. Wolf drops a big curveball in there on him.
Only 38 at bats for Jason Michaels. Hitting .211, another one of the veterans for the Astros that have not been able to do much.
Count evens at 1-1. Tying run is at first. Michaels represents the go-ahead run for Houston. He and Wolf were teammates a number of years in Philadelphia in the early 2000s. Until Michaels went to Cleveland after the 05 season. Pulls that one foul. 1-2. An anxious Paulino watches from the dugout.
Yeah, another well-pitched game by Paulino, but right now he's on the hook for the loss.
6 innings, 2 earned runs for Paulino tonight. Yeah, the 2 runs on 1 swing of the bat from Ryan Braun in the first inning. Braun homered to center field.
It's awfully tough for young pitchers to be pitching with not much margin for error. You make one mistake in the first inning and it can cost you the ball game. It did his last time out. Only give up 2 runs. He did get a win. Or he didn't get the win. The Astros actually won the ball game, but still in all 2 runs in 6 innings against that team. You should be able to log your first win of the season.
And just 2 hits allowed to the Rockies in his last start. Big pitch here. The 1-2 on the way. Strike called on the inside corner. And Randy Wolf rings up Michaels, the pinch hitter, and strands a pair. The shutout intact. Burns off the edge.
Tonight for Randy Wolf, our Jimmy John's delivery of the game goes to him, pitching a shutout so far in this game. Jerry doing an outstanding job, just 4 hits. And going into the 7th inning for the first time, a Brewer pitcher since May 1st.
Well, we were talking before the game, we needed a Randy Wolf type ball game, and it's exactly what he's given us. He's been able to throw all his pitches, slow curveball, everything for strikes, but it all starts being able to dominate that outside corner.
What do you do, in your opinion, after he settled down after that 2nd inning?
Well, I think he got control of the outside part of the plate, and he started throwing his slow breaking ball for strikes. Once he got that under control, he was able to use his changeup, and he became very effective.
Well, we'll have a reaction hopefully from Randy Wolf as well. Jerry will continue to break down this pitching matchup. It's been a good one, a gem, a pitching change here for Houston to start the Brewer 7th, guys.
All right, Craig, Jerry, thank you. Joe Inglet will pinch hit for Randy Wolf. So Wolf is done after 7. Inglet coming off the bench for Ken Maka to face the new Astros pitcher, Chris Sampson. As a pinch hitter this year, Inglet is 7 for 19. This is Sampson's 21st appearance for Houston. He's pitched pretty well.
Yes, he has. He's only allowed the 1 home run, a .250 opponent batting average, and a .284 earned run average.
Oh, England is drilled. Sampson, a former starting pitcher, drills Joe England, who's already banged up. He injured his ankle Saturday at Minneapolis.
And that one not even close, getting him on the thigh. Twisted ankle, now a sore thigh. You wonder how he's even going to be able to run.
Wendy's at the plate. Ricky Weeks has 2 hits. And as a matter of fact, he will not run. Joe England lifted for a pinch runner. Dave Bush, a starting pitcher, will come on to run for England. Tim Burdack is the lefty. Probably getting ready for Prince Fielder if he should hit in this inning. All right, so a leadoff base runner. England still slowed by that ankle injury. And now it's Weeks. England taken out of the game not because of the hit by pitch, but because of what happened on Saturday at Target Field, and really just kind of a benign little play, but
sprained his ankle as he went into home plate. You check out the left ankle, kind of rolls over on him a little bit, and not bad enough to keep him out of today's game.
He jammed his Achilles and twisted that ankle a little bit. Good enough to hit, not so good to run. Weeks hammers one to right. That ball's well hit. Pence looks up and it's gone. Ricky Weeks with a 2-run home run. Number 6 for Weeks. And the Brewers have a 4-0 lead.
Boy, talking about spanking one to the opposite field. That was hit like a left-handed pull hitter. That's the way Prince would hit him. Oh, that's the kind of power he's got when he centers up on one on the sweet spot to the opposite field and hammers it off to the front of the upper deck. The second deck out there in right field.
First home run for Weeks since May 7th as Gomez a little tapper to the mound. Sampson with his first out. An absolute missile to right center.
And not a bad pitch. It was up a little bit, but it was on the corner. Ricky was able to wait back on it, and he hammers that ball. No doubter to right field for Ricky. Bounces off the front of the second deck.
Began the year with a 10-game hitting streak, a couple of home runs in that streak, then cooled off somewhat. But that is a very good sign. As Weeks goes to right center, there's a bunt by Braun, and he'll make it. Ryan Braun with an infield hit. He saw Feliz playing deep at third. He's done that a couple of times this year, and Braun is aboard with a one-out bunt.
Yeah, why not? When you have a third baseman with his heels on the outfield grass, just drop it down. Doesn't even have to be a good bunt. Yeah, Ryan dropped it down. He bunted it a little bit too hard, but with his speed, able to make it to first base. Check him out. You can barely see him in your screen. Way over there on the left side, way back behind the bag.
Well, Brad Mills is going to stick with Sampson here against Fielder. And Burdack loosening in the bullpen. But after the Weeks home run, it's Sampson who stays. 4-0 Crew. A pair of 2-run home runs.
Well, the Brewers able to come up with home runs off of 2 different pitchers that have allowed only 1 home run apiece. Good job keeping in the ballpark this year, but not tonight.
Fielder rips one back up the middle. Braun to second. Prince with a single. And already the 3rd hit of the inning against Sampson.
A good day for Prince. 3 walks and a hit. Well, Sampson missing his spots by the entire width of the plate. He was supposed to be on the outside corner, ended up middle in.
10 hits for Milwaukee, 3 in this inning. And here's Casey McGee. Casey bangs one to left. Here comes Ryan Braun. Lee will not make a throw. Braun scores easily. Casey McGee, the league's leader in RBIs, adds one to it. That's number 40, and it's 5-0 Crew.
Well, Brad Fisher waving Ryan around all the way. He knows that Carlos Lee was not a very good throwing arm. He was playing deep anyway, and I tell you, Ryan hit the bag just about the time that Carlos had that ball in his glove, but Lee doesn't throw very well, not well at all. Brad Fisher, the third base coach, knows it and sends Ryan without even a throw.
So the bunt single by Braun pays off. McGee with his 40th. We'll take a break. A pitching change at Miller Park. And fans, we want to invite you to join Ricky and Red Prairie in supporting the American Diabetes Association. You can do that by purchasing a package that includes a Gale Club ticket for Friday, May 28th, and an autographed Ricky Weeks bat. Call 414-902-GAME or visit brewers.com/giveback for details. That'll be Thursday afternoon against the Astros. Weeks banging out his 6th home run. Casey McGee driving in a run as well. It's 5-0, and a new pitcher, Jeff Fulcino.
Yeah, 19 strikeouts and just shy of 16 innings, a 4.60 ERA. And remembering Fulcino from last year, has a good slider.
And breaks it out on the first pitch to Corey Hart. This has been a quick strike for the Brewers in the 7th. Didn't take long to put 3 runs on the board against Chris Sampson. Still just 1 out. Hart has a hit tonight. He's 1 for 3. And now Quintero wants to have a word with Fulcino. There have been quite a few conferences between pitcher and catcher. Although in Jonathan LaCroix's defense, after that first inning, really wasn't much for Randy Wolf. Or take it back to second inning for Randy Wolf and Jonathan LaCroix.
Yeah, that pace picked up considerably after that second inning, which is what I was saying. He's a quick learner. He's a smart kid.
Well, you have to think it's a big confidence boost for a young catcher to catch Randy Wolf and have it be on a night when Wolf pitches his best of the season. 7 shutout innings, just 4 hits. It's a fastball strike and a big one at that. And LaCroix has chipped in with a hit. 1 for 3 tonight. That one is banged into center field. Michael Bourne, a long way to go, and he runs it down. Michael Bourne, with his great speed, flags down a missile from Hart.
Boy, that's a beauty. That's a nice catch. That's one of the better catches that we've seen out there in center field. I thought that ball was off the wall. I thought that was going to be a run at least for sure. But Michael Bourne, with great speed, takes a good angle on it, never takes his eye off of it, and able to grab it. Well done. He runs, and then right at the last minute, he throws the glove out there, and taking extra bases and at least 1 RBI away from Corey Hart.
Great speed, great catch from Michael Bourne. Bourne was serving a suspension on Sunday. He didn't play in the Astros' last game. Had a confrontation with an umpire earlier this year. So fresh legs tonight, and he shows them off.
Of course, center field here is nothing for Michael Bourne. You know, we're playing at Minute Maid Park. I mean, that's about as big an outfield as there is in baseball, particularly center field.
Yeah, with Towles Hill out there, actually a slope grass surface that's in play. And he's regularly gone up there and made dramatic catches. That hill in Houston named after their president, Tal Smith. Five to nothing Crew. 3 runs in here in the 7th. Escobar with 2 on. Count evens at 2-2. Escobar, a little slicer to right. Pence, a long way to go. And that baseball is fair. It bounces up into the seats. It'll be a ground rule double. And it'll be an RBI double for Escobar. 6-0 Milwaukee as Escobar bangs out his second hit.
Yeah, Brewers doing a nice job putting the ball in play tonight. As we've talked about, it's only been 4 strikeouts by the Brewers offense. So, hey, you put the ball in play, give yourself a chance. That was a perfect example of it for Escobar right there. And not a bad pitch when doubt. He was out on his front foot just a little bit. Not much power. You can see point of contact. That ball down on the trademark quite a bit. But able to dump it in front of Hunter Pence for another double and an RBI.
So here is Lucroy now. 4-run inning for the Crew. It's 6-0. Weeks a 2-run homer. McGee an RBI single, and Escobar with an RBI double. Now, while Lucroy has come along as a catcher, and he's shown marked improvement the last couple of seasons, and we've seen him evolve watching him in spring training every year. He's known as a hitter. Just missed that one. Out in front, pops it foul in the seats.
Yeah, he got off to a tremendous start at the plate in Double-A this year. The Brewers sent him to Triple-A Nashville and struggled just a little bit. That's natural. First go round through Triple-A, pitching a little bit better, defense a little bit better, and matter of time before he starts swinging the bat well again.
Down in Double-A to start the year, Lucroy batting .452 in 10 games. Had 5 RBIs in 10 games as well. In 21 games in Triple-A, hit .238. But a couple of home runs and 11 driven in. Little bouncer to Feliz. And a high throw. Berkman comes back on the bag. The inning is over. The Brewers bring 9 men to the plate. And Ricky Weeks, an opposite field home run. 6-0 Brewers. We head to the 8th.
Tomorrow at 7:10 p.m. it'll be partly cloudy. Can't rule out a stray thunderstorm at some point during the game, though. First pitch temperature a warm 75 degrees.
Brewers lead 6-0 here at Miller Park. We head to the 8th inning. Carlos Villanueva on to pitch for the Brewers. Ken Maka had an interesting comment about the bullpen the other day, and B.A., you'll love it. He related it to golf. Let's take a look. Starting pitching is your drive. If you're in the woods all the time, you're not going to score. Then, if you get good starting pitching, you hit the ball in the fairway, the elite players putt their butts off. I think he's referring to elite teams have good bullpens, but I'm not really sure. B.A., you'll have to translate that for me.
I think you're right. You know, you drive for show, you putt for dough. That's what you always say. And if you're always hacking out of the woods rock, something you're very familiar with,
yeah,
you kind of see where he's going with that.
It's an easy game when you're in the fairway all the time.
Ken Maka was showing off his brand new Scotty Cameron putter today.
Yeah.
So. Nothing like a manager in his office doing a little putting, burn off a little steam. You know what I mean?
In there.
It's good carpet in the clubhouse for putting, by the way. Michael Bourne leads off 6-0 as Villanueva takes over for Randy Wolf. Understand you're a little down on the game of golf at this point.
Yeah, I'm considering hanging him up.
Another retirement.
Yeah. That'd be my third.
Just this week.
Actually, it was the round that I played actually with Ken Maka out in L.A. on the off day.
Oh, rubbing elbows with the skipper, are you?
Yeah, played Trump National. Lost 13 balls.
How'd you do on the back nine?
Yeah. I could have, if I was one of those guys that make excuses, I could say it was that loaner set that I used.
Yep, you could.
But it wasn't the clubs.
Well, it has been a learning day for Jonathan Lucroy as he begins to learn this pitching staff. He's been summoned to the mound a few times from the Brewer pitchers.
He did a nice job making the adjustment with Randy Wolf. I mean, after that second inning, you talked about it, that you didn't see too many visits to the mound or any confusion out there.
As Villanueva strikes out Michael Bourne for the first out.
You know, a good catcher, there will be some issues maybe early on, but a good catcher will think about what a pitcher has said and what he wants to do with certain hitters. You remember that. You can't expect a pitcher to remind you over and over and over again. And we've seen nice adjustments by LaCroix tonight.
Well, I'm sure it's happened before, but it's rare when you see a pitcher offering endorsements, congratulations to the catcher, you know, out on the mound. And on a couple of occasions today, we would see Randy Wolf encouraging Jonathan Lucroy after a particular pitch. Good job. Good. Usually it's the other way around. The catcher's encouraging the pitcher.
Yeah.
But Randy Wolf worked Lucroy through this game as much as Lucroy was with his pitcher. And at the end of the day, you look up, still a 0 on the board. So that's
a badge of honor for any catcher, particularly a young kid making his first major league start. If you can get any pitcher against any offense and you can get through, you know, 7 1/3 innings of shutout baseball, you've done a nice job.
It's a confidence builder for sure. It has been impressive despite the losing ways for the Brewers at 10 games under 500. The impact the young players have made with Jonathan Lucroy and the 3 pitchers in the bullpen, Marco Estrada and John Axford, Zach Braddock.
So far so good. It's early yet. You're going to have to continue to do it over and over again and show that consistency.
That's a base hit to right. Keppinger went up the ladder and slings one to right field for his first hit.
You know, most players down in AAA have the ability, have the tools to be good big league players. It's the one that can do it on a consistent basis are the ones that get to the big leagues and the ones that stay there. So you might have 1 or 2 good outings, but that's not enough to really say we've got something here. We're going to have to do it over and over again. And you know, Jeff Keppinger picks on a high fastball and shoots it into right field.
So a base runner for the Astros for Lance Berkman.
The thing you like about LaCroix as he sits up behind home plate, he hits himself in a nice small ball. I mean, there's no way an umpire can ever tell LaCroix you're moving around too much or you're too high. I mean, he's very flexible. He gets down very low, which is what you like to see, and does not move as the ball gets to home plate.
Long run. And Braun and McGee. Ball bounces into the seats. Good effort by Casey McGee.
That's a long run. A left-handed hitter up there. Escobar shaded up the middle. No way he could get there. Usually the shortstop has a better play on that ball.
Going to the count on Lance Berkman. And Villanueva strikes him out.
A good slider that time from Carlos, getting Lance Berkman. Went right after him. Looks like a fastball, then up disappears. Might have been a changeup, actually. It dove out of the strike zone. That ball moved a little bit more than the normal Carlos Villanueva changeup.
Here's Carlos Lee now. Steve Reich on the corner. Fastball from Villanueva. That's a good play by Lucroy. Count evens at 1-1. It's been impressive tonight. You talked about a setup behind the plate. He's reminiscent of Jason Kendall. You know, Kendall is about the most flexible catcher in the big leagues. And he gets down in that squat prior to the pitch. Umpires love that. Look how low he is.
Well, they have him listed as 6 feet and 185 pounds. That's a bit generous on both ends, wouldn't you say?
I think so.
But still, he's able to get himself into a nice tight ball. And umpires love that. Pitchers like that. Umpires like the fact when a catcher sets that target, stays still, and receives the ball very nicely. Makes umpires look good, and it makes it a lot easier to call balls and strikes.
Now you are the other kind of catcher. I mean, you're a big guy, 6'3". Lance Parrish,
right? Carlton
6'3". Yeah.
Yep.
Chris Schneider with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Big catchers. Even Joe Mauer.
Which makes it difficult to really get down and give a low target, and a good look for that umpire. You really have to work on that. But you know what? When you're a big guy and you're catching, you're a big guy in catching throughout your whole life. And you kind of get used to that, and you figure out ways to be able to, get yourself down and stay quiet and allow umpires to see over you.
Full count to Carlos Lee. He has seen a lot of pitches tonight, but he is 0 for 3. 6-0 Brewers here in the 8th. And a little bouncer out to second. So that's the inning. Villanueva gives up a hit, but strikes out 2 in a scoreless 8th. As we head to the bottom of the 8th, 6-0. The Crew leading the Houston Astros. First matchup of the year with their Central Division foe. Giovanni Gallardo is going to pinch hit for Milwaukee for the 2nd time this year. And Gallardo takes a strike.
How about that? You got Dave Bush pinch running and Giovanni Gallardo pinch hitting. Brewers bench a bit short. Jody Garrett probably not available with that bad heel. England already used. Craig Counsell and Kataris. The only 2 on the bench for Milwaukee.
And you save Counsell in case something unexpected happens. Broken back, little bouncer to Fulcino. And 1 man out. Our Toyota game summary. The Brewers and the Astros. Ryan Braun, a 2-run homer to start it. That was in the 1st inning. Banged it off the Miller light sign. And then Ricky Weeks, an opposite field line drive home run. The inning continued on Braun's bunt. Fielder single to center. Casey McGee on the first pitch, an RBI single. His 40th RBI. And then Escobar, a little flare that bounced fair and into the seats, an RBI double. And when it was all said and done, it was a 4-run inning for Milwaukee. Meanwhile, Randy Wolf, his best start as a Brewer.
Yeah, he had a couple of starts back-to-back that were not very good. 6 runs in each of his last 2 starts. And all about fastball command for Wolfie. Did a much better job of that. Very effective inside with a cut fastball and was able to do a nice job working the outside corner with the 4-seamer.
Just what the Brewers needed from their starting pitcher tonight, as it looks like Todd Coffey will have the 9th. Well, you're hoping the Brewers can catch a little something here. Milwaukee at 10 games under 500 to start the day. They began the day 8.5 back. Cincinnati, the division leader, tied with the Cardinals at the top of the National League Central. St. Louis is in San Diego tonight. Good matchup tonight at Petco. It's Adam Wainwright against John Garland. Padres have a 1-0 lead in the second inning. Cincinnati played earlier tonight. They lost to the Pirates. Pittsburgh won it with a 9th inning run. Ryan Doman home again. Doman won a game for Pittsburgh the other day against Atlanta. 2-1 Pirates won tonight. Dotel saved it. So a chance to make up a little ground for the Brewers tonight. Cubs and the Dodgers are done. Cubs won 3-0. Got a shutout from Dempster, combining with Marmol. Nice play on both ends for the Houston Astros. Tommy Manzella to Lance Berkman, and Weeks is retired.
Manzella looks pretty good. He's had a couple of base hits tonight, made all the plays at short. It's not an easy play. Flat-footed and a bullet over there to Lance Berkman, who dug it out of the dirt.
2 outs for Gomez. Gomez is 0 for 4. Elsewhere in the National League, the Phillies get shut out by the Mets. Mets win at 8-0 behind R.A. Dickey, the knuckleballer. How about the Phillies seeing knuckleballers in back-to-back games? Oh, that caught a piece of Hunter Wendelstedt.
Yeah, that one got him right under the chin. He's got the extra bar hanging down below that neck guard. They still hurt. They might not hit your flush. Bingo. Actually, right on the collarbone. I'm sorry. Not much protection right there.
That'd be an instant where you'd rather have your catcher stand up big, right?
That only would have mattered there. I'll tell you, that hurt.
Flush.
There's no question how bad that hurts.
Hunter Wendelstedt, tonight's home plate umpire. Got him. So Gomez is out. 3 up, 3 down inning for Fulcino. Last call for
Menard's player of the game, Randy Wolf, coming off a couple of rough starts. Wolf able to get the job done. 7 strong innings. Did not allow to run. 4 base hits, all singles. 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and very efficient with his pitches. 7 innings and only 103 pitches tonight. Looking for his first win since April 22nd.
Now, Randy Wolf went 6 shutout back in April, and then had an 8-inning game against the Pirates with 2 runs, but you could call this his best outing of the year. 7 shutout innings. And in line for his 4th win. Todd Coffey is on to try to wrap it up here in the 9th.
Well, 24th appearance for Coffey, a .429 earned run average. 21 innings and 10 walks, 12 strikeouts.
Coffey last pitched on Saturday. If you're wondering why Villanueva wasn't left out there to finish it out, you accomplish 2 goals with Coffey here. You get him back in the game. Because he throws the sinker ball, Coffey doesn't like to go too many days between outings. You also keep Villanueva available for tomorrow.
Right. If he pitches another inning, you can't use him tomorrow in all likelihood.
Well, this is the kind of game the Brewers envisioned. Getting excellent pitching through 8. Hunter Pence leads off for the Astros. Trevor Hoffman back in that bullpen. He's been on the active roster, but has not been available until Sunday. So Trevor says he's glad to be quote unquote active again. Not in the literal sense. Kind of anxious to see how Maka uses Hoffman here this week.
Well, yesterday, or I should say Sunday, he was used in the 8th inning in Minnesota with a 2-run lead. Did a good job. A 3-up, 3-down, 9-pitch inning.
Corey Hart playing deep, lays out, can't make the play, and Pence is on his way to second. It's a good try in a 6-0 game. Pence is in there with a double to start the 9th.
That's one of the issues that Coffey has had lately. A lot of his pitches up in the strike zone. When he is able to get that sinker down and in, that's the most effective spot for him. That's what he did just about every time last year. That pitch, a 3-1 count, a pitch up in the zone, and Pence able to fight it off in front of Corey Hart.
Runner at second. And a strike to Feliz. The Brewers have 2 shutouts this year. They came in back-to-back games. An 8-0 win behind Gallardo in Pittsburgh, and of course that 20-0 win the next day. Randy Wolf was part of that as well. It's like a miscommunication between Coffey and Lucroy here.
That was looking for slider.
It's pretty good hands to catch a 95-mile-an-hour fastball that way.
Yeah, when you're looking off speed, you bet.
Strike 1 and 2. Popped him up. Escobar wants it. And the first out of the 9th. I was just thinking about that Phillies game again. Phillies and the Mets.
Yeah.
R.A. Dickey. So, without having any research and development, mean, can you even imagine a time? I'm sure it's happened, but imagine a time when a team has faced a knuckleballer in back-to-back games. The Phillies lost to Tim Wakefield on Sunday. Tonight they lost to R.A. Dickey. And not scoring a run on either of the knuckleballers.
Yeah, those guys, knuckleballers can mess you up. That's for sure.
Perhaps when the Niekro brothers were together
Niekro,
in the
Charlie
big leagues.
Huff, maybe. You know, you're playing a team back-to-back. You play the Yankees, and then you play Texas. Very unlikely, though. Tom Candiotti, a knuckleballer.
Now, would you classify Candiotti as a knuckleballer or a pitcher who threw a knuckleball occasionally?
And, no, he threw more than occasionally. He threw a lot of other stuff, but he threw mostly knuckleball.
So the Phillies get shut out for 8 innings by Wakefield Sunday, and then shut out for 6 innings by R.A. Dickey tonight in an 8-0 Mets win. So not only did they face knuckleballers, they didn't score against the knuckleballers.
Right. And odds are they're not going to face another one. So I don't think they have to worry about it.
Unless Charlie Hager gets traded to the Mets tonight and pitches tomorrow. He's the only other knuckleballer in the league.
Right.
There's been a resurgence of knuckleballers lately. They've tripled this year with R.A. Dickey and Charlie Hager joining Tim Wakefield. Roy Oswalt tomorrow, definitely not a knuckleball pitcher, but he probably has one. The Rockies and the Diamondbacks are in the 8th inning. Colorado leads 3-2. Tulowitzki is homered tonight. And Brad Hopp as well. Padres got a home run from Jerry Hairston against Wainwright to have the 1-0 lead over St. Louis. That one's ripped into the gap. That's big trouble. That will bounce at the base of the wall. Penn scores easily here. And it's an RBI double for Humberto Quintero. And the Astros are on the board here in the 9th inning. The shutout gone with 1 away.
Yeah, another pitch up for Todd Coffey. That's been his issue. He's gotten some pitches up tonight. And the Astros have been able to take advantage right down the middle. Not much movement on it. It was a 3-1 pitch. And Quintero able to give it a ride into right center.
So still 1 out and a double and an RBI for Quintero, who has 2 of the Astros' 7 hits tonight. Here's Manzella. He has 2 as well. Manzella has not been retired in this game. 2 singles and a walk.
They just can't get ahead in the count. He's been 2-0 on just about every hitter.
There's strike 1.
There's the pitch that Colby's been looking for right there. That down and in sinker. Good velocity on it.
There's another one, a slider. 2-2 on Manzella. Roy Oswalt tomorrow against Chris Narveson. And a reminder, we're on WMLW tomorrow. Got him. Coffey strikes out Manzella. 2 outs in the inning.
I got behind 2-0. Then he buried a nice fastball down and in on the inside corner. Then back-to-back sliders. That one off the outside corner. Well, maybe that 2-0 fastball might have registered with Coffey and may have found something. The last 3 pitches, very good.
So the Astros down to their last out. There's the matchup tomorrow. The lefty Narveson and Roy Oswalt, who is just 2-6, but he's pitched well. Jeff Blum will pinch hit for Houston. You never know when you'll find it. Perhaps Coffey has found the release point he's been looking for.
On top, get on top. Hits downhill.
That was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. With some late sink to it. And a good breaking ball. No balls and 2 strikes. Narveson tomorrow. Dave Bush will pitch on Thursday. They'll match up against Brett Myers. Astros have 2 of their best starters on the mound the next 2 days. So this one is an important one for Milwaukee. Fielder's got it, and he'll take it himself. And that's a winner for the Brewers tonight. 6-1 the final score. Randy Wolf picks up his 4th win. He goes 7 shutouts tonight. And Ronnie Paulino drops to, Felipe Paulino to 0-7. Good win for the crew. Still much more to come on this game. Craig Deshawn, what do you have coming up next on Brewers Live, sponsored by Lincoln Mercury?
Well, big positive note, Brian, for starting pitcher Randy Wolf. We certainly hope to catch up with him. Also, our instructional coming up, communication between the pitcher and catcher.